This is Miss Lang, and I'm going to be showing you some tips on database searching for the Social Justice Theology Project. To begin with, I want to just remind you of a few search strategies that you can use. For instance, if you have the topic of aging, one of the tips would be to look at your research question and see what kinds of synonyms you can brainstorm, other ways to search for that term. So for instance, for the topic of aging, you might brainstorm synonyms like elderly or senior citizens. Also think about, are there other ways that that word, that term might be spelled? So for instance, aging with an E is a more British spelling. Aging with an I is going to be the English spelling. A second search strategy is to think about how you can use advanced search to combine terms using Boolean operators. So for instance, aging or elderly is going to give you a very broad result. It'll give you articles that either have the word aging or articles that use the synonym term elderly. Or you might decide to narrow your results by saying that that article needs to have both terms. So aging and elderly would give you articles that had both of those terms in the article. You might find some articles that are giving you results that are not keyed into the topic that you wanted to do. So for instance, if you found an article that was about China, but you were trying to talk about aging in the United States, you could do an advanced search, aging, not China, and that's going to eliminate any articles with the topic of China. And you can continue to combine search terms. A third strategy is to use the wildcard. That asterisk after the end of a stem to a word will give you all the endings for that word. So if you used an asterisk after homeless, you're going to get articles with either homeless or homelessness. Or if you used an asterisk after the word teen, you would get the variations of teens or teenagers or teen. A fourth strategy that you might try is called the bound phrase. This is when you have a term that you want exactly searched as that order. So for instance, teen pregnancy, that phrase, if you put quotation marks around it, you'll get only the articles that have that phrase used in that order. You might also think of using quotations if you're searching for a person's name as well. For instance, Dorothy Day. You could put quotations around Dorothy Day. You would get articles just with that phrase. I'm going to show you two databases in particular, just some screenshots of what a search might look like. Opposing Viewpoints is the first database. You would use the password Elvis to get into this database. It's a good source for an overview, for definition, for statistics, for opinion articles, journal, magazine, news, and for websites. And I'm going to show you two different ways to use opposing viewpoints. One is to brainstorm keywords by using their drop-down search box. And the second is to refine your search by using an everything box. So here's an example of beginning to type in your search term. In this case, I'm typing in the term aging, and immediately there's a drop-down box. As you look at some of the suggested related terms in the drop-down box, you may see some, for instance, aging skin, that you know are not related to what you're trying to find information on. You might then go back and look at what are some of the other ways that they're phrasing this term of aging. So for instance, aging population, that might be a much better specific way to do your search. So you could use that phrase, aging population, in your search. Once you've done that search, you can look at the various results. So for instance, this is an example of the reference results. Notice that it has 115 results that you could click onto to view. As you go down to the journal's results, you begin to see some articles that are referencing China or Europe. Again, if you want to narrow that search, what you would do is to have your search term and then using and add in United States. That will drop out any other countries, for instance, China or Europe. You can also make your results more pertinent to your topic by limiting the date range. So in this case, I've limited the date range from 2005 to 2015 so that I'll have more recent articles. Here's an example of a result from that search and the article. The second way that you can use opposing viewpoints in your search is to look at the box that's on the right. It's called the everything box. When you've done your initial search, for instance, I searched aging population, you can do an even more narrow search by using the everything box. You could either click into one of the links, for instance, to statistics where there's 7 results, or to academic journals where there's 13.8 results, or you could try to narrow these results even further by typing in another search term. So for instance, I typed in parents. This new search term is going to narrow articles just to concerns about parents and how they're handling an aging parent. Here's some results for that search for aging, United States, and parents. That particular result might be helpful if you were doing that topic. The other database I wanted to show you was Expanded Academic, and again you would use the password Elvis for this database. My initial search, I tried using the terms problem of homelessness, history, and United States, and when I used that combination, I didn't get any results. If you run into that, just play around with the search terms, try using a little bit different search terms. So for this case, I used homelessness. I decided to narrow it to subjects. I would make sure that my resulting articles, that was the main subject of the articles. Then I tried reason why and United States, and it came up with a much better result. This particular article, as you scan through the article, you're going to see that it has subject headings that's going to give you not only the definition of homelessness, but also the historic overview. So that was some search tips for using both Opposing Viewpoints database and Expanded Academic. I wish you luck as you begin your research for your theology project.